Hi everyone, hope you guys are doing great. My name is Rafe Ahmed and I'm the developer relations to the DevOps Cloud community. So before getting started with the project, let me ask you one question. Are you tired of battling inconsistent deployments and sluggish feedback loops? Well, that's not a problem anymore. I have got it covered. In this video, we would see how Docker could be used for containerization and Jenkins for automating a CI/CD pipeline to build and deploy a simple to-do list application. On that note, let's get started with the project. So prerequisites of this project are that you must have Git installed on your system. You can get Git from the official website. You can download it for your specific operating system. Then you must also have Jenkins installed on your system. That could be downloaded from its official website. So here you have different ways of installing Jenkins. As per your requirements, you can download it. Then also we need Docker desktop installed on our system, which could be easily done from its official website. You can get the Docker engine for Linux, Mac, Windows. So this is the architecture of the project. We are using Jenkins for the CI CD part. CI stands for the continuous integration. CD stands for continuous deployment. So whenever a developer commits the code to a central repository, in our case it's GitHub, using the help of a webhook, a trigger is generated to Jenkins notifying that a change has been made to the GitHub repository, which prompts Jenkins to pull the code. Then Jenkins builds the project, it tests the project, and then it deploys the project in a container which will be available to the end user. So first let us understand the complete Dockerization process. There are two steps in Dockerizing a component of an application. First is to write a Docker file. Docker file is more or less a set of instructions using which the Docker repository creates a Docker image. Then this Docker image is used to spin up a Docker container in which the component of the application would run, thereby isolating the complete process. It helps in the deployment and simplifying the deployment process and also scaling the component. So yeah, that is the main benefit of the whole Dockerization process. So now let's containerize this application. In order to do so, first we require a Docker file. So I'll create a Docker file named Docker file. In that file, as this to-do list project runs on a node version 12.2, I'll define that version using the from command. It has to be node colon 12.2.0 dash al file. So this would be the base image for our Docker container. Then I would set the working directory to /app. Then I need the copy instruction to copy the code from the local to the destination. The first dot represents that whatever files are present in the local repository, it gets copied into the Docker image that we will be building using this Docker file. Then I require a run command to install npm inside the Docker image. Then I would require, I'll run the test using npm run test. I would expose the application on 8000 port. Lastly, I would execute a command which is node space app dot js, which would run the application. So this is the Docker file. Okay, yeah. So this is the Docker file that we have just typed out. This Docker file would be used to spin up a Docker image. Then using that Docker image, a Docker container is created. So let's build the Docker image from this Docker file using the command docker build using the hyphen d. I'll specify the name as node, the name of the image as node dash cicd. Then dot represents this current working directory. So enter, that is creating the Docker image from this Docker file. So let's wait. Yeah, so the image has been created. We can verify that here. When you log into your Docker desktop, you can see in the images section that the image has been created with the name node dash cicd. So let's create the container of that particular image using docker run hyphen d hyphen p. I'll just be explaining what I'm doing right now. 8000 colon 8000 name was node cicd. Yeah. Yep. So what I just did over here is nothing but using this run command, I spin up I spinned up a Docker container for this image node dash cicd that would run in the detached mode. This dash d represents the detached mode. Then we have a dash p flag that represents that the external communication happens on the 8000 port, and the container internally listens at 8000 port. So I have created this Docker compose file that would be managing the container. Now let's move to the CI/CD part. Let's build a pipeline using the Jenkins. In order to do so, we need a Jenkins file, Jenkins file. So Jenkins file is basically in the Groovy format. It defines a pipeline that builds, let me comment it out. So it defines a pipeline that builds, tests, and deploys this to-do list application. Yeah. And so pipeline, I'll define the agent. I'll label it as dev. Then I'll define stages of this Jenkins file. First stage would be to fetch the code from the GitHub. Second stage would be to build and test the to-do list application. Then the third stage will be to log in and push the changes which are made to the image. Last stage would be to deploy the application. Yeah. So inside this code stage, the steps that should be defined are get the source code is available. The URL has to be defined where the source code would be available. So which is available over here. So let me just copy this, paste it. So this is available at the main branch. Then the next step, let me just properly indent it. Yeah. Now in the build and test stage, the steps should be echo build and test. Then the shell command would be docker build dot hyphen t space. So the image location would be at this part colon 0 4 12 14 node to app latest. So this is where the image will be built up from. Next stage is to log in and push images. I could do it later on. I will write the steps for deployment. Deploy. In this, the steps has to be echo deploying. Then the shell command which has to execute would be docker compose down. This command would bring down any existing containers that are running. After that, Docker compose up hyphen d. So I'll just copy paste this login and push image credentials. See, control v. Yeah, this would log in and push the image. That's it. I mean, this pipeline would build, test, and deploy our to-do list application. Let me just sum it up. So we have just created a pipeline. We are naming the agent as dev, which will be serving our to-do list application. We are defining 4 stages. In the first stage, the code would be fetched from the GitHub, from the main branch, and then it would be built and tested. The image would be fetched from this image, which is available at the Docker hub. After building the image would be pushed using this step. Then it would be deployed using the Docker compose. So now as the Jenkins file has been created, let's head over to the Jenkins console and let us define a CI/CD pipeline. So I will click on new items. Let me name it as node underscore pipeline underscore to do. I will select the freestyle project, click on OK. I'll say that CI/CD for to do list application. Yeah. Then the source code management, we need Git. The source code is available at this particular repository. So let me just copy and paste it. And yeah, then it is the source code is available at the main branch. So let's change it to main. In the build triggers, I will be selecting the GitHub hook triggers for Git SCM polling. This basically is a webhook provided by GitHub, which automatically triggers Jenkins. It notifies Jenkins that a change has been made to the repository, prompting that Jenkins would build the application, then test it and deploy it from its end. After that, the build steps that are to be defined are Docker compose up. Uh, this dash D flag specifies that the container should run in a detached mode. Dash dash build specifies that the changes which are made to the Docker image would be implemented using this command. So let's apply it. Head over to the pipeline. So there are 2 ways of building a pipeline. First is manually triggering from the Jenkins console. The second one is the GitHub webhook that we will be configuring in the later part. For now, let's trigger the manual. Uh, yeah, it's running. Yep, that's it. So our application is successfully deployed. We can access it from here. Yeah, that's it. So